Hey everybody, welcome back to another Deck Profile Friday. Yes, we're back doing those. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one here. I had the pleasure to play this deck last night at Pokemon League, and this deck, I'll be honest, even though I did win the game, it was versus Raging Bolt with Ogerpon. I will say that the deck is not really for me, right? And the reason why I say that is just because I'm, due to the amount of time that I have to play, I want a deck where I don't really have to think as much, right? Anything that's like crazy high in math, or where I got to do a bunch of counting and stuff, even though I'm really good at it, right? I don't want to have that come up in a game where I have to think about it, because then it just will basically slow me down, right? I like playing decks that are faster, that set up right away, and the damage is really easy to calculate, right? So, with that kind of said, I bet you're all wondering what the deck that I'm talking about is, or you've probably already guessed it, right? And for those that have guessed Gardevoir EX, you are correct, right? This is the deck that, I had the pleasure, like I said, of playing last night at League, and I'm not a big fan of this deck, but I still have it in my bag because it's a good deck, right? When it does what it needs to do. It wins, right? It can win games, right? And it wins games just because of the prize matchup, right? If we're able to go single prizers into two prizers, right, then eventually, maybe not, might not be early on, but eventually, it can lead you to a win. So, yeah. Without further ado, we're gonna get into the list. Right, this is my older list, so just so you know. Yeah, so we got the Gardevoir here. We got the Kirlia. Just trying to make them all fit on the screen here. We got the Ralts, the 3 and the 1 there. So, trying to make it all fit onto the screen here, makes sense. All right, and then the single cards, right? So we're pretty close here to the end. Just gonna slide these underneath like this. Klefki. And then lastly, we have one Manaphy. So this is my Gardevoir list. This is what I've basically been playing with, right? I feel like it's pretty good. A couple cards that I am considering in here are the Mimikyu from Scarlet and Violet base set. I think it also comes in the Shining Fates ETB. The one with that safeguard ability, damage from EXs and Vs, right? So when I say safeguard, so that goes back all the way to EX Ruby, EX Sandstorm, or I believe it's the first ever safeguard ability on the Wobbuffet in that set was played. So yeah, there's that safeguard ability. Another card that I'm considering is the Lost Origin Cresselia, right? So the thing with that card is it's like, how much damage can I really do, right? Yeah, but this is overall the list. Gardevoir there, 310 HP, 2 retreat, resistance to fighting and weakness to dark, makes sense. Its ability, Psychic Embrace. You can put up, as many Psychic Energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon, to your Psychic Pokemon, right? And then for every energy that you do, you put 2 damage counters on there, right? So this is basically a Psychic deck, except for the Greninja and the Manaphy. And then its attack there, Miracle Force, is 190. So, but you don't really use that, right? It's just an occasional use. Kirlia there, right? 80 HP, 2 retreat, no resistance, and weakness to metal, right? Its ability there, refinement, right? Basically allows you to discard a card from your hand to draw 2 cards. It's not specific like Greninja, it's any card, which is actually really convenient, right? If that was on Greninja, it'd be incredibly broken, because it'd be played in basically, not that it already isn't the most played Radiant, but every deck would probably be playing Radiant Greninja. So, and then everything else on the card is just kind of the Ralts there, right? 2 different kinds. We do have the 70 HP one and a 60 HP one. The 70 HP's got the teleportation burst, attack there, 10 and switch, and then the memory skip, just basically copies and attack. So, pardon me, or no, it makes them skip. They can't use an attack. Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, it's all right. I kind of like, they both can be kind of interesting, right? So, I think the memory skip is a better staller, right? So, in those decks that, have a very low amount of Pokemon, like only 1 Pokemon that they attack with, and they can't attack with anything else, it might be a pretty good stall card. So, but yeah, the 60 HP, just be careful of Sableye from Lost Origin and its Lost Mine attack, right? 6 and 6. We'll get a knockout. So, Radiant Greninja is just basically there for concealed cards. Discard an energy card to draw 2 cards. Munkidori, it's there basically for its Adrena Brain ability. If it's got any dark energy attached, you may move up to 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So, it is stackable, right? And yeah, it's pretty cool. So, then yeah, the attack there, Mind Bend, 60, auto confuse, so not too bad for 2 energies. So 110 HP, 1 retreat, resistance to fighting, and weakness to dark. Typical. Flutter Mane, just an interesting card. Active Pokemon, doesn't have abilities, so this is great against something like a Chin-Pao, right? You can lock a Flutter Mane active, and then they can't use like Shivery Chill, right? If their Chin-Pao's active, those decks where it's basically based on an active, like a Pokemon being in the active spot, right? And then it's attack there, 3 colorless, Hex, Hurl for 90, and then 20. Pardon me, put 2 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon anywhere you like. So pretty cool. Scream Tail, 90 HP, 1 retreat, resistance to fighting, weakness to dark. This is probably the best attacker in the deck here. Its attack there, Roaring Scream. It does 20 damage for each damage counter on it, and it can go anywhere on the board. So that's a pretty good card. And then that leads us into the Drifloon, right, which is another really good attacker. A little bit weaker in terms of HP, but the attack can be just as damaging. Balloon Blast 30 times for each damage counter on this Pokemon, right? So if you put 6, which is the max it can have on there without any adjustments, right, that 6 will actually deal 180 damage for 3 energy, right? So, which is basically only 3 energy cards, right? If you put 3 energy cards on, then you're hitting that 180. So not too bad. Klefki there is really good, right? It's one of my favorite cards in here. Mischievous Lock, right? Just basically locks your opponent out of its abilities, right? Which is really good. There's a lot of ability-based decks, right? This is a great card for against Charizard, right? And, you know, as a Guardy, you know, if you're a Guardy player, your rule, you know, should be trying to get this out turn 1 and to, you know, obviously get those Ralts out, right? But get it out as soon as possible and then just retreat into it, right? If that's on your second turn, so. And then Manaphy lastly for any of those decks that like to spread damage. So basically it's Radiant Greninja, right? It prevents that damage, so. And that is the Pokemon, right? So now we're going to go into the trainers, supporters, and stadium cards, right? Like I said, I'm not a fan of this deck. It is not my playstyle, but it's still a very good deck. Supporters for Arven, right? It's basically Arven Poffin, right? Instead of, you know, Arven and Battle VIP. We got Arven and Buddy-Buddy Poffin. For Iono, just a lot of shuffle draw in here, right? Keep disrupting your opponent, right? You're going to kind of probably get behind, right, in the prizes because your Pokemon are so easily knocked out, right? So this is a great card. Just keep shuffling. Keep them shuffling, right? A single boss's orders, right? A nice gusting card. A Professor Turo's scenario, right? A nice, basically a scoop up. And then our stadiums, we got an Artazon and a Temple of Sinnoh. The Temple, I'm debating on cutting. I think we can find, you know, another stadium that's better suited for this format, right? As there's not a lot of special energy cards being played right now. Lugia is probably a big one. So for this deck, right, you know, because they have iron hands, right? So, and they play a lot of special energies, right? Because that's what Archeops does, right? So, and this will basically make them null and void, makes those double turbos, you know. Well, like they don't have that reduction anymore, but I don't know. It just does a lot of other cool things, so. That's the supporters and the stadiums. Trainer cards. For Buddy-Buddy Poffin, basically the main card of the deck here. We got to get those Ralts out. 2 Counter Catcher, right? Another good card. 2 Earthen Vessel. Great card in here. Get those energies into your hand and into the discard pile. 2 Nest Ball, a little bit more consistency to make sure we get our Pokemon. 2 Super Rod, right? Put Pokemon back into the deck. 2 Technical Machine Evolution. Evolves our Pokemon quicker. And then 2 Ultra Ball, right? So this is the basically the everything higher than 1 count. Yeah, Ultra Ball searches for any Pokemon, so that's those. And then we'll get to the one-ofs right now, right? You're probably all wondering what A-Spec I'm playing, right? I'm just trying some stuff out right now. We do have a Bravery Charm. Enhanced Hammer, which I might cut as well. We got a Luxurious Cape. Right, so that's another really good one. And then we have a Heroes Cape. So that's another interesting card there. I might end up cutting that, right? You know, I think the usual suspects are the Hyper Aroma and the Unfair Stamp, right? Being put into the decks. But I think there's a lot of other decent stadiums that could, you know, fulfill that that role. Pardon me, at least decent ace specs that could fulfill that role. Right. And then lastly, a Hisuian heavy ball. Right, that's our last trainer card. And that lets you go into your prizes, grab a basic, put it into your hand, and then you put that card in one of your prizes. So, but yeah, there you go. That's the trainer cards. And then lastly, the energies. Right, really easy to figure out. We got 7 psychic and then 2 dark. Right, that's just the way that we have it. This number, you know, I like 9. I think 9's a pretty good number for the deck. I'm not an expert on this deck, right? I think it's a good deck, but I don't think it's a deck for everybody. If you're really highly skilled and you're really good at thinking things out, play this deck, and I'm sure you'll do well with it, right? If you're a player that likes to just, you know, play simple things where you don't want to have to do too much thinking, don't play this deck. This is probably the worst deck that I think you could actually play. Play something simple like Chien Pao or Miraidon or Raging Bolt, right? Those decks are really, really simple to play. So, but yeah, there you go, everybody. This is Deck Profile Friday. It's been a minute since I've done one. Right, I did do one last Friday, but yeah, it's been a while since I've done a repeat, so we're gonna keep going with these, and you know, it's one of my favorite sessions of the week. So, but yeah, there you go, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and once again, see you in the next video.